Welcome to the newest, best, and fastest way to get Dark Aether. With the addition of Outbreak into Cold War, there are definitely many ways to unlock the camo now. So if you perhaps are struggling with some parts of the camos, or just relatively need a fast method to speed up your process, that's what we will be looking at in today's video. I'll be splitting up the classes up into individual little groups to make this video a lot easier. The first group will be ARs, SMG, TAC ARs, pistols, snipers, and LMGs. The second, shotguns. The third, rocket launchers and special weapons, and lastly, melee weapons. The reason I did this is to make this easier for you to watch, and since they mostly share the same challenges between themselves, there was no need to split them up and have this be an hours long video. One thing that I won't be doing in this video is telling you the attachments to use, as there are far too many weapons in the game to fully go over. If you're new here, be sure to leave a like on the video and be sure to subscribe. We are so close to 15,000 subscribers and would really be amazing if you could help out. Also, be sure to join our Discord if you need any help with any certain camos. Perhaps you want to find people to play with, or you just want to hang out, be sure to join it. And also, I need to mention there will be timestamps down in the description for each of these groups, and also at the beginning I recommend watching, as I will be recommending certain strategies that I'll be going over in the video so you understand them, and also the perks, field upgrades, and ammo mods you should look out for or not use. So let's quickly get into all of those things about the perks and field upgrades. With season 2, we got the addition of new tiers being added to perks, ammo mods, etc. So with the different weapons, I will recommend certain field upgrades to use, but I quickly want to recommend some perks to definitely have upgraded for this. Number 1 is Deadshot. This is going to basically be your best friend during your road to Dark Aether. Trust me, it is probably one of the greatest perks to exist for the critical kills challenges. I also recommend leveling up your quick revive fully and tombstone, as they'll be a great alternative for a self revive if you'll ever need it. Also, stamina. This bad boy with all 5 levels will make you zoom through all of the maps, and especially in Outbreak you'll be able to get from point A to point B in absolutely no time. And obviously upgrade Jug. I don't think I need much explanation as to why it will be increasing your health and making this definitely better not to go down a lot. For the ammo mods, I won't recommend any, since I feel like sometimes you might get certain effects on zombies that will end up messing up with some of your camo challenges, so I don't recommend using elemental pop for any of these. Now, there will be 3 main strategies that I will be mentioning the most, and to avoid confusion later down the line, I'll go over them really quickly right now. The first one will be Die Maschine spawn. The second one will be Penthouse strategy. This is in Die Maschine on top of the Knockdown Totem building. Here all you have to do is stand with a weapon of choice near the Wonder Fizz machine and make sure you don't purchase the back wall, since if you stay here there are only 2 ways that zombies can come at you, which will help out not only making some of the camo challenges easier, but also make the zombie spawn extremely fast up here. And the third location is Colonel's office in Firebase Z. This is located just above the Jug machine, and you are able to stay in the office itself up above. Here it's fairly simple and similar to the Penthouse strategy. There are only 2 ways zombies can spawn, either to your left through a window or in front of you, which will be the doorway where zombies can run at you, and it will be very similar to the catwalk strategy in the Reese or the Giant. That's all for the perks, ammo mods, strategies, and I will be talking about each of the field upgrades every single time I talk about a group, since different field upgrades are necessary for different weapons. Without further ado, let's get into the first group. So the first group I'm going to be talking about is ARs, SMGs, LMGs, TAC ARs, pistols, and snipers. The reason I bunched up all of these is because they all share the same thing, and that's being able to shoot from long distances. Obviously some of them have different fire rates, some are automatic, some are singular, and some might just be extremely annoying like the sniper rifles. But relatively with all of these, if you do the same strategies I will mention for each of the camos, it will be easy. For all of these, I recommend using the Ring of Fire field upgrade and definitely having it leveled up to level 5. The reason I recommend this is because Ring of Fire actually increases the amount of damage you deal on the zombies, and it will be necessary with certain strategies that I will be going into. But without further ado, let's get into the first camo, which is Grunge. Now this is a very simple one, but to make it as effective as possible and as fast as possible, you're better off doing this in Die Maschine and Firebase Z. The reason I recommend these 2 maps is because if you go into Outbreak, the zombies are definitely more spread out, and it'll be kind of more difficult to get really high amount of kills. And from spawning in into Firebase Z and Die Maschine, you instantly have zombies spawning in, while in Outbreak you do have to look for them yourself or start the objective to get a reasonable amount of kills. For Liquid, I recommend the Colonel's Office strategy on Firebase Z. The reason I recommend this is because the zombies will most of the time be running through the door, as I mentioned earlier with the strategy, and you will be able to get very easy critical headshots here. Trust me, it will be a longer strategy with this because the zombies will be taking their time, but you will be able to get all those kills. In the past, I would have recommended using Deadshot Daiquiri and using in the aim in and aim out method, but if you're not on console or if you don't really want to continuously be spamming the aiming in and aiming out, you're better off hopping on Firebase Z into the Colonel's Office and just trying to concentrate to get all those critical headshots very easily and very fast. Remember, do hop in with the Ring of Fire upgrade in here, as it will be sometimes very necessary. It can get a little bit sticky, but aside from that, Colonel's Office is definitely the best for this. For Pack-a-Punch kills, I definitely recommend either Die Maschine or Outbreak. The reason I don't recommend Firebase Z is because it is actually a slight bit longer to get Pack-a-Punch open and be able to use Pack-a-Punch. While in Die Maschine, all you really need to do is get to the machine itself and then just be able to collect the part, while on Firebase Z you do need to turn on all those reactors, and it can get a little bit annoying because it will take a bit more time to open all those doors. And the reason I also recommend doing this strategy with Outbreak is because you can complete the first objective, which can be actually very fast. Could take you up to just 5 minutes to the first objective, and you will definitely have enough to Pack-a-Punch your weapon straight away. So definitely for Pack-a-Punch kills, Die Maschine or Outbreak are very good for this. For Vintage, I recommend Firebase Z the most, just because of that catwalk strategy or the Colonel's Alpha strategy, but you could also use Outbreak, which is very good for this as well, and it won't be that difficult to get. For Fauna, I recommend again Firebase Z Colonel's Office, because again the zombies are coming from one direction and you already need those critical kills, so you'll be able to get them very easily, especially with this camo challenge. For Topography, again, lastly, Firebase Z Colonel's Office is going to make this very easy. Now, I don't know if you see a certain theme here, but Colonel's Office is probably one of the best locations to be doing this. Now, another one you could actually opt out to use could potentially be Penthouse strategy. Now, the reason I say Penthouse strategy for this one, because the spawn rates are extremely fast and the zombies do seem to be bunched up most of the time, so you will most likely be able to get those kills kind of faster if you're struggling to do it on any other location or any other map. And for the very last one, Infection, where you can't get hit and you have to get 20 kills 10 times, I definitely recommend Outbreak for this. Now, the most annoying thing with Outbreak and this camo is that in Outbreak, a lot of the zombies decide to rip off their flesh and throw it at you, which will ruin this because you will get hit. But if you keep your distance at a good range and keep an eye out for all those zombies that are slightly far away from you, you will be able to complete this challenge by just simply running around the map straight away from spawning. Now, if you don't like Outbreak and you don't want to do this certain camo challenge in Outbreak, you could hop on to Die Maschine, and the reason Die Maschine is definitely a better choice is because it is the spawn, and in spawn it is 100 times easier to get those kills faster, and you will be able to be at definitely better distances that you would be on Firebase Z. And that's it for that actual camo group. Now, I did mainly talk about the Colonel's Office strategy just because it's actually so good. Now let's get into the second group, which is the shotguns. So the first thing I need to talk about is the shotguns are actually pretty cool because there's 3 of them currently: the Street Sweeper, Gallo, and the Howler. And the ones that you only really have to do is the Gallo and the Howler, because the Street Sweeper, a lot of people are kind of changing their minds about it. In the past, it was a terrible weapon. It's slightly better, but it can be still very annoying. So what I recommend for you to do is going mainly for the Howler and the Gallo, since the Gallo is a very good shotgun, but the Howler is just a whole nother level. And if you still haven't used it in any of your zombie games, that should probably be your main weapon to use if you ever plan for going any high rounds or just in general planning to hop into zombies and don't know what weapon to use. The Howler is a beast. I recommend using again the field upgrade Ring of Fire. It will help out in this situations like too many zombies spawning in or other things that could happen. The first camo is Grunge, and with this one again you could be playing either Firebase Z or Die Maschine. Definitely not Outbreak, since there are a smaller amount of zombies, and if you obviously will be going for the other camo challenges that I will be going into in a while, you will just relatively get it. This one isn't anything I can really really tap into and give you any helpful tips, since it's only getting the kills and it's nothing really insane. For Liquid, I recommend playing Die Maschine, and actually a strategy I didn't go over just because I'm only using it for shotguns is underneath the Pack-a-Punch machine in Die Maschine. Now here you will be able to run around in a circle underneath and be able to get those headshots very easily. And on top of all of this, you are located in an area where number one, you have Pack-a-Punch machine, and number two, you have the upgrade station for your armor and your weapon, since Die Maschine has only one of those locations, while obviously Firebase Z has a bunch of them, which was a really good change that they made. But definitely underneath Pack-a-Punch, it will be very easy to get all those critical headshots with those shotguns, and it'll make your life so much easier since all the zombies are on flatland. But make sure to have Deadshot Daiquiri to make it even that much easier. For Brushstroke, again, I recommend hopping into actually Outbreak or Die Maschine itself, just because you will be able to get that Pack-a-Punch machine open faster, or just be able to get your weapons Pack-a-Punch much faster, because it's either a really short amount of time to get there and less amount of points that you need, or it's actually just already unlocked for you and all you need to do is just get the points for it. For Vintage, definitely Firebase Z, but Outbreak is also good, as I've mentioned, with the ARs and the other group, because there's a very large amount of elites that spawn in, and Die Maschine has only really one elite that spawns in every few rounds, and it can be very annoying to get that very fast. So Firebase Z, all those mimics, all those manglers, even the Orda boss fight that can spawn in occasionally, and in Outbreak you can really just find them wandering around the map, so that would be very easy to do in there. For Fauna, I definitely recommend hopping into Die Maschine again, similar to going underneath Pack-a-Punch. This will be a very easy challenge. Topography, once again, underneath Pack-a-Punch, all of those things will be very easily done down here. Trust me, I used this strategy for my Street Sweeper shotgun unlocking, and it was very easy to get this camo done very fast, especially with the shotguns, since you need to be close up to them, and shotguns do have a bit of a bullet spread, so getting those headshots won't be extremely easy if you're on any other land, or if you, for example, do Colonel's office. It just won't work as well as underneath Pack-a-Punch. And for the last one, which is Infection, once again, either Outbreak, but then again the zombies could run up to you like dogs, and since shotguns don't have very good range, you could potentially not be able to take them out fast enough. So I would definitely recommend Die Maschine off the bat. When you spawn in, make sure not to get hit by any of the zombies. Shouldn't be worried about any of the flesh, as they shouldn't be throwing any of it, and it will be very easily done. And if you get, let's say, hit at one point, just back out of the game, hop back in, and it'll be very easily done. But that's it for the shotguns. Let's now get into the rocket launchers and the M79. The reason I said M79 is because as of now, the crossbow itself has not released yet, so we don't exactly know what kind of certain camo challenges it will be or how it will behave in zombies. So unfortunately, if you are watching this when the crossbow is out, I'm really sorry, but this will be mainly for the explosive, which is the M79 and rocket launchers. But who knows, maybe it will be very similar or even way easier than the M79, so definitely opt out for the crossbow if it's out. But for this, I recommend using the Ring of Fire field upgrade. Once again, if you leave out one rocket in your supply, you will be able to have a very fast fire rate with the Ring of Fire. Now, one weird thing that Treyarch introduced is actually with the weapon upgrades. If you upgrade the weapon class, which is either the specialist or the rocket launchers, there's a small chance that one shot that you shoot will be coming out of the stock instead of your actual ammo. So if you're confused sometimes while you're still loaded and still be able to shoot, that's the reason. So if you do end up upgrading your rocket launcher group class in the skills, do be looking out for that. For Grunge, I recommend hopping into Die Maschine or Firebase Z once again, as the zombies are very fast spawning in and definitely easier to find. You could use the penthouse strategy for this one, but I don't feel very confident for Colonel's office, since this is more of a very close spot and you will most likely die. So just training them wherever you feel comfortable, either on Die Maschine in spawn, which is very good for this, or Firebase Z around the chopper helipad location. It's also very good. For Liquid, I definitely recommend mainly using Ring of Fire. It will make this strategy so much easier, but definitely hop into Die Maschine and run around and spawn. So similar to the other classes, as the first group, mainly it was Colonel's office. The second group, which was shotguns, it was underneath Pack-a-Punch, and with this I find the most easiest location is the Machina at spawn. It's very open, it's very big, and it's very easy to train zombies in there. And there's certain parts of it where if you turn on the Ring of Fire, it'll make life so much easier. For Brushstroke, funny enough, back in the day, this was probably one of the most annoying challenges, but thankfully it's only 55 or more kills that you need to get now. Again, the Machina spawn is amazing for this, especially if you can bunch up a certain amount of zombies. It'll make your life so much easier. For Vintage, I could recommend Outbreak, but anything really works in this. You could hop into Firebase Z or the Machina, it won't really matter. Just stick to spawn, it'll make your life so much easier. For Fauna, definitely Firebase Z because of those increased amount of elites that spawn in. It'll make your life 1 billion times easier, but then again, Outbreak is a map, so you could hop into that. For Topography, I actually recommend, again, lastly, the Machina, just because spawn very big, very easy to get all these kills. And for Infection, surprisingly, in the past I would have told you hop into the Machina, go through the first round by killing them, and then from second round start punching them and killing them. But thankfully with Outbreak, the first round that you play is actually like an actual normal first round of zombies, so you can wander around the maps in Outbreak, whatever one you spawn in, and try to find zombies because they'll all be one shot. Now one thing that I will definitely make you look out the most for, ammo boxes, because if you use the Thumper for example, you will be running out of ammo very fast, but if you use rocket launchers, it's actually also very similar. Aside from that, that's it for the launchers in M79. I feel like the main issue that people will have with that is the M79 itself. And lastly, let's get on to the melee weapons. So for this one, if by any chance you have the shovel unlocked, that is definitely one that you need to go for, because thankfully with this you only need to get one melee weapon gold for the diamond camo that is shared with the special weapons. Now the reason I say shovel is because this is probably one of the best weapons to use in zombies. Make sure you do unlock it and don't purchase it, but if you just have the combat knife, that is a very good one to use, or the wakizashi sword, it's also very good. The sledgehammer is slightly slow and it's very annoying to use sometimes, and the machete is just absolutely horrendous, so do not use the machete. And for this one I definitely recommend for you to level up your Aether Shroud fully, as you will have 2 abilities and it will help you out with some of the camo challenges very easily. And let's get right into the first camo, which is Grunge. For this one I will, similarly to the other rocket launchers and M79 group, recommend the Machina, just because the spawn area is very comfortable to run around and get all these kills easily. You'll be able to train them very easily, and also you do have a crafting table, which will get me right into the liquid camo challenge, where you will have to stun the zombies. So definitely getting the stun grenade, which is very cheap with salvage, definitely cheaper than opting out to get decoys or monkey. So stun grenade is definitely the easiest. Make sure if you throw it on the ground and don't look up, since you will most likely get stunned as well, and it'll be very difficult. With Brushstroke, again, actually oddly I do not recommend Outbreak for this one. I recommend using the Machina for this one, since again it's very easy, and if you play Outbreak with a melee weapon it won't be very easy, and getting those pack-a-punch kills will be more of a pain than being something that will fly by. For Vintage, I definitely recommend using the Aether Shroud, especially with the newest upgrade. You will be a bit faster with even your swings and everything, so it'll be more slightly difficult to get those kills, but you will have those 2 abilities. So if you have a large group of zombies and you activate Aether Shroud and they start running away, don't worry, it will turn off. Get them back in, turn a second Aether Shroud on, and you will be able to get that done very fast. For Fauna, I actually recommend Firebase Z, since there is a huge amount of those elites. You could hop into Outbreak, but Firebase Z is definitely more comfortable, since obviously it's not huge distances that you need to travel with, and I feel like there's even a larger amount of elites that spawn in there, especially in the earlier rounds. For Topography, again, this one actually doesn't matter. You could use either Firebase Z or the Machina. Don't recommend Outbreak, again, just because it's too big for a melee weapon. And for the last one, Infection, I actually recommend the Machina melee. Spawn in. I did the shovel most recently, and with these strategies I actually got this done in only 3 games. First game, leveling up my weapon and getting some of the camos completed. Second game, hopping into Firebase, getting the rest of my elite kills. And the third game being hopping into the Machina at the beginning, trying not to get hit, getting those 20 kills. Once I get hit, back out of the game, hop back in. Obviously if you get hit very early on and you don't even get any progression for the camo, stay in the game, because maybe you'll be able to get it. The reason it's not a good idea to stick through the whole game with it is because it will just be a very painful and annoying process, and since the beginning of the rounds the zombies are extremely slow and very easy. And the reason I don't recommend Outbreak for this one especially is because the zombies, again, as I mentioned earlier, tend to throw their flesh and it's very annoying, and that will be just not a good experience. But guys, that's actually it for the video. I got through the whole thing, which was kind of a lot, and this video was extremely long. So if this did help you out in any way, be sure to drop a like on the video. If you have any more questions, either join the Discord where you can probably get somebody's reply fairly fast, or you can comment down below and either other people will hopefully help out or I will try my best. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sitting through the whole thing. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.